I was thinking the other day about some of the most important bits of advice that I've received and thinking about what would be really useful. And one of perhaps the best things, and particularly relevant because we've seen it so much in the challenge over so many years too, is when people get stuck. Now, if you're like me, when you get stuck, particularly on something that you sort of want to do or like to, you sort of get really pig-headed about it. And you can, before you know it, you found that you've spent hours or even a day stuck in this one particular section. And I remember the guy who taught me so much, Gary Halbert, reminding me that whenever he got stuck, he would often go for a drive or he'd go for a walk. And the process of clearing your head was often something that was good to get unstuck. Through the years, I've applied this advice in the challenge and often said to people who have gotten frustrated, and people do get frustrated, particularly when there's technology stuff involved, because it's not natural to most people, is to just put it down, go for a walk, come back to it the following day. And it's astounding how often something that's got you stuck is unstuck the following day. And there's actually quite a bit of science behind this. The fantastic book Brain Rules with Dr. John Medina, written by Dr. John Medina, has got some amazing stuff in it. But one of the key things is about this fact that this is science, not woo-woo stuff, is that your subconscious will process this problem while you're doing other things. And indeed, it works best when you're doing other things, whether it's sleep or whether it's a walk or whether it's any of these sorts of things. And it's a way of getting yourself unstuck. So if you find yourself getting into that loop, it's a fantastic circuit breaker. Sometimes it's better, and it goes against our, work ethic. Oh, to give up, right? Giving up's bad, right? There's a bad connotation to that. But it shouldn't be, not with this. Because actually that cycle of letting something sit and process is so important. Also works when you're writing or doing any sort of creation. It's crazy to the same principle, fundamentals apply. Most people write something and then they edit straight after. And this is crazy because your brain needs time to process it and you need to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. That's the old saying, right? That is really important too. Something else that I was reminded of, I got a great book recommendation. I think it was Tim Ferriss pointed out to me, Daily Rituals. And it's like the daily rituals of like 450 famous people. And it's fascinating. It really is interesting. Disturbing in some places because there are some people with some pretty interesting sort of experiences. But there are two very common elements. One, particularly in the older, because this goes people's work habits who literally lived hundreds of years ago, would be they tended to drink. Now, I'm not recommending taking up drinking as a thing. It's just a common thing. I wonder, because often with successful individuals, depression is often associated, and whether that was something that helped. But anyway, that's me making statements I'm in no way qualified to make. However, the other really obvious commonality was that they all took long walks. They were either ritual walks, long walks, and even modern day, Steve Jobs was famous for his walks. In fact, anytime he wanted to have a conversation, he wanted to do that walking as well, right? It was a big part of what he was doing. And that was really interesting because, again, if you look at the science of this and what Gary Halbert didn't know, that his drives down to the Florida Keys had this same effect. It has this effect of getting your subconscious to work. And it's really, really fascinating. So have a think about that. If you get stuck, have a think about just going for a walk, trying to clear your head, get fresh eyes on the problem. If it's a really intransigent one, give it a day. Step down, go for a walk, and look at it the following day, and you'll really find a big difference. Now, if you happen to be looking at this on the blog, and hopefully you are looking at the blog at eddale.co, because we've got a comment section there and I read all the comments and it's the best place to join in the conversation, maybe you could tell us about times where you were really stuck and then you walked away from the problem for a while and all of a sudden the answer hit you, or you came back at the following day. I'd love to hear any examples you've got for that. I also mentioned the challenge, and the challenge is coming up, and you can sign up for the challenge at challenge.co. Be fantastic for you to join us on that and apply some of these principles in these videos there in a very real and practical sense. The final thing, I'd love if you could, if you see a like button or a share button, if you think this has been useful to you, please, I'd love you to hit the like, hit the share button, or if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe so you get hold of these videos as soon as they're published. That's a little secret tip there for you. So with that, thank you very much. And just think about, I think a walk, clearing your head, is just a very powerful thing. Get a dog, or in my case, get 2 dogs. And that'll always make sure that you have a walk each day. Otherwise, they jump on me. It's very annoying. All right, folks, we'll speak soon.